Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a film review. Tonight we're looking at a kind of a sort of folk horror, if you like, stroke religious horror, and we're looking at Saint Maud. Now this I've not long picked it up, and I've been wanting to pick it up for a while because it's something that I've been really drawn towards. And I sort of kept questioning myself, wonder why this film keeps drawing me to it, but I didn't keep not picking it up. But eventually I did, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, 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 this is great, this is awesome, this is my type of film. And it's based around this lovely young lady called Maud, who's a very kind and caring nurse and very heavily into her Christian beliefs. And she, when the film starts, she's not working. She's lost her job for some reasons that are not explained until later in the film. And she gets a job as a private nurse to go and look after Amanda, who's this dancer. She used to be a dancer. She's now sort of like come of age, and she's requiring a nurse for palliative care. And so Maud's been given a job, and Maud believes so religiously that she's this saint, that she is this sort of like, she's there for a purpose, and her purpose is to save and be the saviour of at this time and stage of life, Amanda. So she looks after Amanda and does all these kind things for her, and does her cooking, her food, and does everything for her. Even does her some sort of stretching exercises and all these things to try and make her day easier. And it gets to the point where Amanda is very grateful and sort of buys her this William Blake book and says to Maud, my saviour, all my love from Amanda. And so this relationship sort of flourishes between the pair of them, a sort of carer and patient relation, but it tends to sometimes sort of delve a little bit deeper because Amanda likes the company of females, and she has a certain female that comes to see her, and Amanda pays her for her time and her affections. It's probably the best word. And so Maud tries to stop this and says, and she tries to start controlling Amanda's life. She starts to get quite jealous of what's going on around her. And Amanda's quite a popular person, say, because she was a very famous sort of dancer, well established with, and she's written books and books and books about dance and sort of body art and things like this. And I think Maud can't come to terms with this, and she sort of gets to the stage where she wants to be her saviour. She wants to be there for her end, so she can turn and say, "Oh, you're my saviour," and all this sort of thing. And so she gets any jealous from any input from the outside. Anyway, she tries to discuss with this girl to no longer pay visits to Amanda, and tells her not to tell Amanda that she spoke to her. So the girl goes off, and Amanda arranges some sort of party. I think it's a birthday party. So Maud's there sort of helping organise it for her and stuff. And then the house is full of friends and all this sort of thing. And Amanda explains to the friends that what Maud has done, trying to stop all of her friends being friends of her and stop the girl coming around for relationships with her, because she wants to be her saviour. So Maud is very, very jealous and very upset about this. Now, throughout the film, Maud seems to suffer from some kind of almost like seizures, where she thinks, I don't know, like almost like a religious, even a sort of sexual, orgasmic sort of seizure. and it's very quite disturbing, some of the faces she pulls while she's doing it. Anyway, at this point in this party, when the secret's out, Maud's anger takes over and she slaps Amanda. So then she has to leave and she loses her job and gets thrown out. And the private care company said, "You're lucky she's not pressing charges." So she is again back now to square one, back in her humble little flat. And she's very angry. She's very cross with her beliefs and Mary and Jesus. She won't even return her cross to the wall because she walks around with a cross. When she went to stay at Amanda's to look after her, she took her cross and hung it up. So she's very angry with it. And she goes out and expresses this by sort of having different sexual relationships with a couple of men. And that makes her feel very ill. She's very violently ill. And she thinks this is her being punished by God for doing what she does. So she then gets back to her religious beliefs and starts to punish herself. There's a bit of self-harm going on in this film. So be aware of that. This film is quite a disturbing film. But it touches on sort of folklore, religion, and it's all based in sort of Coney Island in the UK. It is a British film, and she tries to make contact with other people, old friends, people in the street, and it's just so uncomfortable because she's so full on and wants everything there and then, and you know, she's almost like a lost, lonely soul, still trying to fathom out where her existence is, where she belongs. And this film draws you in. It just draws and draws you in. You feel sorry for Maud, but you don't trust her at all. You just think there's something not right. There's just something not right. And there's one scene where she sort of levitates, and that's quite bizarre as well. This is when she has this experience after she's done these sexual deeds. She sort of like goes home and feels sorry for it, and she levitates, and she then sort of like rekindles her beliefs again, and believes that she's on some sort of mission. But there is something about her past. She bumps into an old nurse that that she used to work with, and she says, "I'm doing private caring now." And she says, "You're still nursing after what's happened?" You know, so something has happened, but she doesn't get explained till later in the film. She's got a very violent side and a very caring and a very lonely, loving side as well. She's a very mixed up little princess, is our Maud. And this story sort of bases around her sort of like coming to terms with that. So she now wants to repay a visit back to Amanda. Why? You need to watch it and find out, because I'm not going to spoil the ending or the rest of the plot for you. All I've got to say to you, this film is fantastic. It's a great sort of deals with mental health. It deals with self-harm. It deals with someone with extremely strong beliefs, and it makes you convince yourself, is she telling the truth? Is she a saint? Well, if she is or not, you need to watch it and find out. It's a great film. I can really, really highly recommend it. You can see all these different companies really recommend it, and it's even called a horror masterpiece. And I have to agree, in its own sort of special genre niche way, it is a masterpiece. It is not your average horror film with out and out sort of gore and horror. There is some gore and stuff in there. There's very disturbing scenes, but it's a story based horror. Think along the lines of, like, you know, like Possum, where the story is like strong and the horror just sort of emerges into the story, and what comes out of it is this terrifying, disturbing visuals, and it's great. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a really cool film, and I kind of wish I hadn't put it off so long to watch it. But then again, I'm kind of glad I did, because maybe that's what's made me appreciate it even more. The sort of, not the yearning or earning for it, but it's just thinking, yeah, I must pick this up. I must pick this up. I'll put it back again. You know those sort of films that you have in the back of your mind to get in your collection. There's a few others like that I've got in the back of my mind, like films like Ready or Not that I haven't seen yet. But it's just stuff that I will pick up at the right time. And I must have picked this up at the right time because I absolutely freaking loved it. I thought it was amazing. Any of you guys seen it? Let me know down below what you think of it. It is different. It is different, but it's wonderfully shot. The photography is fantastic. And the main character, wow, she plays an amazing role. There's one stage when she's doing a self-harm to herself, and you see her walking through the streets, and she gives this little sort of like crinching of her face when she's in pain, and it was so convincing and looked like, because I've had that before, when I've had sort of tattoos done, I'm sort of like, you know, certain bits, and she's captured that really, really well. So she's really got into this role, and I think that's what makes this film an absolute pleasure and a masterpiece to watch. It is a masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece for a niche market. Just be aware of that. It's not an average slasher film. You're not going to get Evil Dead. You're not going to get nothing like that. This is a story-based horror. If you like those Two Witches and things like that, you'll probably, the Leech, films like that, you'll probably get The Righteous, all those sort of films, you'll probably get along with this brilliantly. I liked it because it's just, I think it's been made by the same people that made The Witch, which I loved, and that's why I think it's been on my radar all this time, and I'm so glad I got around to seeing it. Guys, till my next video, please check out some horror channels for me. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Manvy Film, RS Designs, Pizzlewell, I Am Icelord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House, and a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.